Welcome to Savor the Story podcast, where books and snacks are life. I'm Nicole. This is Vanessa.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome.
We're just saying that it's been a very long time since we've seen or talked to each other.
Yes.
I just got back from my birthday trip, so it's been a full week of us not being together or really regularly talking to each other.
I know. I kept having to tell myself, stop talking, Nicole,
No.
because we have to get to the podcast. You can't just keep
No.
talking about every single thing that happened.
That's okay. There's plenty of time for all of it. So probably the next 2 episodes might be a little long. Apologies now.
I don't apologize.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. I take it back. Because we have to catch up on everything, and we're batch recording the 2 because I was gone. So the weeks are just going to be mixed together in the next 2 episodes. So
right,
take it for what it is.
Right. I was looking through my notes, and it's been so long since we've recorded last that I was looking at my notes for like what I did this week just to like remember.
Yeah.
And I was like, did that happen? Was I traveling? Oh yeah, I was gone too.
You were.
Yeah, so
this
is the week that I was gone for work.
Oh yeah, that this episode is I feel like just these 2 next episodes are just going to be kind of squished together. So whatever you talk about is just, it happened in the last 2 weeks.
Right. I'm sure it'll all work out. Yeah,
I honestly feel like when we take time off and we have to do this, because we did it for the holidays a little bit too, I feel like, did I miss something? Did I do something wrong? Like, did everything get posted? Did I I feel like, and I have a checklist for literally everything. So I know everything is done, but like, I just have this anxiety that lives inside of me.
Well, you did a good job, because I think everything posted as it should have, and everything turned out good, because like I was like looking around and I was like, it looks like it's all good. And then you didn't send me a text message like, oh my god. So I was like, yes.
It was a little difficult to do some things on the iPad that I normally do on my laptop for release day, but it worked out great. I got it to work, and that's what matters.
Well, if I could, I'd say give yourself a raise out of our podcast funds. But
yes,
you'll get the first raise.
Okay, great. How are you? Tell me things.
I'm good, man. I know I talked to you a little bit about my trip, so it wasn't anything crazy. It was just a work trip, but it was with my new job. So I was like meeting everybody, and everybody's like, here's all these 50 people. And I was like, I don't know.
You must remember them all.
Every time, like, they'd be like, person. And I was like, man, I don't like this in books. I don't like this in real life. Like, you can't tell me 20 people's names and expect me to remember that in an hour or tomorrow or next week.
And they literally always introduce them as like what their name is and what their position is. I don't remember either of those things. I'm just like, you are a person and you work here.
Right. And
I got that much.
Yeah. Sometimes the job titles don't make sense. Like, unless you're telling me you're like a engineer or like a mechanic.
Yes, exactly.
Dude, I don't fucking know what that is.
So you're just making up words right now.
You could tell me anything. I believe you.
Exactly. How was your trip was in much different climate than where you live.
Yes.
So how was that?
So it was in Arizona. And I got back home and I like turned and looked at Mike. I don't know if this is a term that everybody knows, but I think, have you ever heard of snowbirds? Okay, so I'm sure. Yeah. I was like, I looked at Mike and I was like, man, I'm really rethinking this snowbird thing, because before I was like, why are people doing this? It was 80 degrees every single day, and it was like a nice 80.
Yep.
It wasn't like balls hot 80.
Yes.
Because it was down in the 50s at night, and then it would get up in the low 80s during the day, and I was like, I was in a pool every day. I was like, man, I need to start. We need to think about this.
This is what took me so long to agree to leave Southern California, was literally just the weather, because that's how it is all the time, and it's great.
Yeah.
So I get
beautiful.
it. Yeah.
So I think that might have to be something we readdress in a couple years when we can afford it again.
Yes.
So but yeah. Nice. I got to eat a lot of good food, and I got to, not really go and see anything interesting, but we had like delicious, like authentic Mexican food, which I was really, and every single place that we went to had horchata, so I drank like gallons of horchata, and I shouldn't have, but I did. Yeah.
There was actually a place that I went to in Germany that had horchata, and I was gonna try it, and I was like, you know what? I don't feel like being sick on this trip. So I didn't end up. I was like, this would be great to be able to talk about on the podcast, but it wasn't worth it. The food was actually really good, so I actually feel like the drink would have been fine. But it was just like one of those things where like we had been driving literally all day, and at the end of the night I was getting food, and I was like, I don't want this. I do not want this at all.
Yeah. But we did go to a brewery one night, and the only reason I bring it up is because I got tacos, but they were deep fried avocado tacos.
What does that mean?
They deep fried avocado and put it into tacos with slaw. It was phenomenal.
Okay.
Think of the crunchiest fried chicken you've ever had.
Okay.
That's what they did to these little avocado slices.
All right.
And then they shoved it into a taco shell and like put slaw over it. So
at first I didn't know if you meant like they made the shell out of that or if they put it inside. So
yes, it was a taco with deep fried avocado in it.
Okay.
And it was phenomenal. So
all right.
I bring it up because that's what I'm going to use as my snack this
week.
You
are? Mm-hmm. All right. That's fun.
So yeah, but I know I sent you this picture, but I went to my first Pistons basketball game. I should say any Major League baskall game.
I don't think I got a picture of a basketball game.
Are you sure? Okay, well then I will send it to you.
Okay.
Maybe
and when I get it, I will put it up into the picture right here.
Did you guys already leave by that time?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe I didn't know because I sent you a picture of the burger I had.
I got a burger picture, but I did not get a basketball picture.
Okay, so I'll send you a basketball picture. Okay. We went to, like I said, we went to see the Pistons play. They were playing the 76ers.
Okay.
And so they were winning. They won by a lot, I think.
Okay.
But it was just like the first time that I've ever been to one. And it was less
boring.
Squeaky.
Oh,
yeah, kind of. But like, I always imagine basketball games to just be like squeak, 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 squeak.
It is
squeak, 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 squeak. Well, I guess Mike says it used to not be like this, but they play music the entire time.
Oh,
so it's not just like quiet, silent squeak, 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 squeak. It's now just like da 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 for like 4 hours.
When you're right, so when you're watching it on TV, is like you're not getting all of the stadium sounds, so you're getting just the squeaks.
Yeah, it must be. So yeah, I couldn't hear very much just over like crowd noise and music. Yeah. So I think that is my preferred way to watch basketball, but
is live.
Yeah, but I don't like basket. And strangely enough, I was like, I liked that about the game. And Mike was like, it's terrible. I can't believe they did this to basketball. And I was like, oh, I'm the problem. Gotcha.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, that's fun.
Yeah. But how about you?
Well, I don't really know what happened before I left for my trip. So I had so many snacks on my trip that I decided I'm going to split my trip talk between this episode and the next episode so that I can use multiple snacks of what I had while I was out there. And so that I could, like, we don't just sit here and talk for like an hour. So uh for everyone who hasn't been listening, last week was my 40th birthday, and I decided to spend it in Prague and in Germany, and it was fabulous. We had It was a great trip. I was really sad to come home, and except for I did miss my puppies, so there was that. But we got home yesterday morning at 12:45 in the morning. I'm still very tired. I went to bed so early last night. Our everything ended up getting delayed, like our flights coming in. We left Germany on time, but we were stuck in Atlanta for 6 hours. So yeah, we ended up being like 3.5 hours delayed overall. But anyway, it was terrible, that part of it, but everything else was great. I did visit quite a few bookstores. Pretty much every bookstore I saw, we went into.
Nice.
Luckily, yes, all of my travel companions were like totally down for whatever. So even anytime they saw a bookstore, they were like, "Do you want to go in there?"
I found you a bookstore.
Yes. So we went to one. There was one in Prague. It was called Shakespeare and Sons. That was supposed to be, it's like the famous one in Prague. Like apparently it's very like known and great. I didn't love it. It was kind of like, I mean, it was nice because it's like a little bit, it's an older place. What is the name of that one that we went to in Columbus? You know what I'm talking about, right?
We went to a lot in Columbus, didn't we?
The big one. The big one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't remember what the name of it is.
Okay. It kind of reminded me of that a little bit, to where it was just like a lot, where books are just kind of like stacked everywhere. And there's like a lot of new stuff. There was a whole English section, but I wasn't really concentrating on only buying English books. Like I wanted to look at different covers and like all that kind of stuff. But ultimately that one was just like, I didn't love it and it made me sad, but whatever, I went there. But I did go to a bookstore in Germany, and it kind of reminded me, it was called the Hugendubel. And it kind of reminds me of like a Barnes and Noble, Books and Co., like that kind of vibe of a bookstore. They had a really small section of English books, but everything else was obviously German. And I found the Fourth Wing series in German. And their covers are not their covers, because the covers are pretty much the same as ours, but their sprayed edges are so much better than the US
Really?
is. And I bought all 3 of them.
Wow.
I did ship them home though, so I don't have them yet, but as soon as I have them, I will put pictures in the video. Like as soon as I get them, the next episode, I will put it in the video and put pictures online and stuff. But even the girl that I checked out with, she was like, I have to be honest with you, the German ones are so much better. And I was like, I think you're right.
You're like, this is why I'm buying one.
I'm buying them all. I cannot read them, but I will display them.
Backwards.
Yes. So I got those, and the what is it called? The series. It's called Letters of Enchantment series. So, or duology. So it's the Divine Rivals and the other book. Those also had sprayed edges that were really cute. Their covers are very similar to the UK version covers. they just are a little like colored a little bit differently, and then they have sprayed edges. So I currently have the UK version of them, so at least I can read those. But I wanted to have both because it's so pretty. So yes, I was able to get some fun books that I'm gonna put pictures of all over the place as soon as I get them.
Gosh, I'm so excited to see them. I know you sent me a picture, but
yes. I think I only sent you of one though, right?
You did.
Okay.
You only sent me one.
Yes. So my brother-in-law, we could only find Fourth Wing and an Onyx Storm, and I was like, I'm not just buying 2 of these. If we don't find Iron Flame, like I'm not buying them. And so my brother-in-law searched everywhere and he found it. Oh. In like hiding in a pile on a table somewhere, and he was like, is this it? And I was like, yes.
It is.
It was so great. So that was a fun time. I can't wait to show you all of those. And
I'm super excited.
Yes. Oh, and the one in Columbus that other one reminded me of, it's called the Book Loft. And it's in the German Village in Columbus, Ohio. So weird. But that's the one that the Shakespeare and Sons kind of reminds me of. But yeah, so I did a lot of book shopping and stuff like that. The snacks I was going to talk about, though, today. I'm going to talk about 2 snacks that I had today, but I'll only use one of them. Obviously. Okay. The first one we had was in Germany, and it was called Lebkuchen. And they are gingerbread cookies.
Oh.
And it was like a little we were walking through this like little town center basically, and they had a bunch of like little
shops,
or
something.
Okay. What do you like, the little pop-up things, almost like you're at like a Christmas market like or something like that. Yeah, so it's just like little tables outside of people selling stuff that they make and all that. Yes, and this lady made Lebkuchen, and they were delicious. They were like gingerbread cookies covered in like chocolate and like all the things, and they were pretty good. So that is my first snack, but not the snack I'm going to use.
Were they soft gingerbread cookies?
Oh they my gosh. Were so soft.
I love gingerbread cookies, but when they're soft, like, but when they're hard gingerbread cookies, I'm like, okay, I'll like dip it in my coffee or something. Right. But when they're still soft, I'm like, oh my god, nothing will stop me.
Yes, they were. It was basically kind of like bread, like gingerbread bread, but just in a cookies. So there was that. And then the one that I'm going to use as my snack today, though, was in Prague. And it is called Tredelnik. I think that's how you call it. I will tell you that we kept calling it Turtle Dick the whole time we were there. Because every time we tried to say Tredelnik, it like... we just whatever
just doesn't,
Yes, so Tredelnik is dough wrapped around a stick and then baked and then like covered in cinnamon and sugar, and then I had mine filled with like apple pie filling basically.
That sounds delicious.
Yes, it was amazing. It was so good. I wanted to eat like 32 of them. Unfortunately I only ate one, but it was so good. And I will say though, there's controversy around this snack because it's like a famous Prague snack, and Prague locals are really upset about it because this snack does not originate in Prague. It's actually a Hungarian snack. Okay. And somehow it's become the snack of Prague. And all of the locals are like, this must stop. However, there are like 100 shops. Everywhere you walk in Prague, there is a Tredelnik shop. So it's taken over. So I apologize for anyone who's there who is upset that I ate that while I was there. But I couldn't help myself. There was 100 stores for me to pick one from, and every time I walked by one, I was like, I must eat that.
That's just how it is.
Yes. So Treadleneck is what my snack is going to be this week. Also, they do, I guess in Germany, they call them chimney cakes.
Oh, yes.
So if you've had that before, yeah. So there's that. That's all I have to talk about for my trip this week. I do have book stuff to tell you though before we get into reviews. You do? Okay,
yes,
you tell me.
I was hoping you had book stuff because I have book stuff and I didn't want to be like, I have more things to talk about. And you'd be like, Nicole, we're on a timeline.
No, you tell me things.
All right. First things. I have two things. They're going to tie to each other somehow.
Okay.
I have to take my sticky notes out because I wrote them down. Okay. So I saw this article in Screen Rant.
Okay.
And I thought of you. And it says 10 upcoming romantasy books that will fill the onyx storm-shaped hole in your heart.
Okay.
So I'm gonna change around the thing, the lineup a little bit because one of the books I have other things to talk about. So the first one is called Cursebound. It is the second book in the Feybound trilogy that'll come out 18 February.
Okay.
Oathbound, which is the third book in the Legendborn Cycle series. That comes out 4 March.
I think I've seen that one. Yeah. I've never read it, but I have seen that one. Okay.
This one I didn't have the date that it comes out, but it's called Alchemized.
Oh, I have seen that one. Okay. 5
is Rose in Chains. It is the first book in the Evermore trilogy that comes out in July.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. This one I also don't have a date for, but it's called The River Has Roots.
Okay.
7 is Scythe and Sparrow. It's the third book in the Ruinous Love trilogy that comes out in February.
All right.
8 is Fearless. That's the third book in the Powerless trilogy. Man.
Yeah, I am like, that one I see everywhere, and I'm a little opposed to reading that one. Really? That one is too overhyped on Book Talk for me. That it's immediately giving me like Book Talk vibes. Yeah. So that one I have not jumped into yet. Okay,
so 9 is Brimstone. It's the second in the Fae and Alchemy series that comes out in November. That's
the Quicksilver one that I talked about last week.
And then 10 is called The Knight and the Moth. It's the first book in the Stonewater Kingdom duology that comes out May 20th.
What's her name, right?
Rachel Gillig.
Oh, right. Yes. The dark window. Yeah.
Yep. Now, funny story. I just thought when I saw it on this list,
my cat's about to walk by. Sorry.
I hope you leave that in there.
I'm going to.
It was like a shark.
Yeah. If you're only listening to audio, go to the video right now. You can see my cat literally just walk by the camera.
Doing what cats do.
Yes.
Just double middle finger.
Yes. Sorry.
So no, you're good. I forgot about this book, and because I have a bad habit of buying books and then forgetting that I bought them and then buying them again, I was out with my sister this last weekend, and she's like, "Don't forget, I bought you The Knight and the Moth." For something. I don't know if it was just she saw it, and I can't remember what it's for. It's like a birthday or something. I don't know. But she's like, "Don't buy it." I was like, "Okay, I won't."
Did you buy it?
No.
Oh. No. Okay.
I put it in I had to go into Goodreads and say, I already own this.
Yes.
So that way I didn't. But when I wrote down this list, I was like, oh man, I really want to read this. I should buy it when it comes out. Good thing Kim said something, or else I would have got a karate chop to the neck.
Oh, goodness. We could have just added it to the list of giveaway books that we're going to be doing for the next 6 months.
Yeah. But okay. So the number 2 book, though, and the reason I took it out of order and put it because I have other things to talk about it. Okay. But number 2 in podcast time. So when this comes out, it will be coming out, or it will have already come out. And It is Rebel Witch.
I knew that was going to be on the list. Mm-hmm. Yes, because it comes out tomorrow.
Yes.
In recording time.
Yeah. But speaking of what day it comes out in recording time, I know I sent you this text.
Yeah.
So Rebel Witch comes out 18 February. Whatever month we're in. 18 February.
Yeah.
I was in Barnes and Noble. I wrote the sticky note down. Another one. I was in Barnes and Noble on February 9th, and Rebel Witch was on the shelves.
Mm-hmm. I'm really upset about it, actually. So, not because you bought it. I'm upset that
it is right there.
I'm upset that what are stores doing? I don't understand what stores are doing. Like, why are you not following release timelines?
Look, it's a Barnes and Noble exclusive. No, this is another book I don't know. I can't remember if I already bought it or not. So,
but I probably did.
But I bought it because it was February 9th.
Right.
And I haven't read it yet.
Yes.
So, but yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
I'm if I would have seen it, I would have bought it too. So I'm not like faulting you for that. I just don't. I'm faulting Barnes and Noble for not what is happening. I mean, like the same thing happened with Onyx Storm. Like, why are people putting books out early?
So I'm not 100% sure. There was only 3 copies when I was at the store. So I don't know if they were just like stocking it like a normal book and didn't realize. But I went back to the store like last weekend. So like a week later, and there were no more copies. There were no copies out. There were no anything.
Like no inclination that it had been there.
Right. So it was just where it was on the shelf was all squished back up with just regular books. And the first book was not even, Crimson Moth wasn't even on the Crimson Moth.
I mean, that's what it's called in the UK.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that one wasn't even. So
weird. Either way, I'm happy for you that you got it. But either way, I'm upset that they're not, that there's still, again, not like adhering to release times.
Right. Yeah.
Because you are a nice person, and even if you had read it, I know that you wouldn't be out there like, this is what happens, where there are people who are like that will do it just because they're like, I'm the first person and I can spoil it.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think in this case, I feel because there was only like 3 copies out, I feel like somebody just didn't know.
Accidentally.
And just like put it out there. And either all 3 got sold up and somebody went to like replace it and they were like, wait a second, there's a sticker on here, you know, but it didn't feel like it was like, you know, for
an intentional stalking.
Right. Yeah. Okay. For like, you know, like how in some Onyx Storm cases, it was just like dozens of copies, right? So
I'd be interested to see like if you go tomorrow, are they going to have like a whole like like a poster and like a everything, like it's release day, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I can. So, I mean, I have to go. Yeah, I have to go into office tomorrow, so maybe I'll stop on the way home and just not to buy anything,
right?
Because I can't trust myself in the stores, but I will go in there to see if they have like a poster up or something like that.
Well, now I need to know if I need that version, the Barnes and Noble version, or the special edition that I already pre-ordered. So dang it.
I feel like if you pre-ordered a special version, I also pre-ordered a special version. So so we might like you were saying earlier, surprise, there may be a giveaway.
Keep an eye out because we have at least like three giveaways planned over the next like 2 months or so, just because of special editions and stuff like that. So I already know for sure we're gonna have these 2 because I bought the other version. So just keep watching us and listening and stuff because there will be giveaways of multiple books and series soon.
I feel like at this point the number of books that we've like accidentally bought or bought multiple copies or stuff like that. We could probably do like one giveaway every month for the rest of the year.
Exactly.
And be fine. So
goodness gracious. Yeah. We're real smart. It just works out. It works out that we have this to give away stuff on.
Someday we'll get the hang of this.
Yeah, right. So my little book news is in the last episode I listened to Evil Has a Name, and remember it had been on my TBR. I had like bought it in like 2018 or something like that, and you asked me if that's the longest book that I've had on whatever. So I did some digging. And I have a problem. So I made a list. Hold on, actually I'm gonna pull it up real quick. I ended up making a list of books that I have bought and haven't read yet.
Okay.
The list is much longer than you probably than it should be. So I will start with 49 of the books that I have that I haven't read yet were $0. Okay?
Oh.
So there's that. So 49 of them. However, 62 of them were more than $0.
A number greater than 0.
Yes. 62 of them were more than $0. And the first book that I have on my Kindle that I have not read was on December 24th, 2009.
What book is it?
Let me tell you. I have the whole list right here. It is there's 3 from that day. And I think 2 of them were Oprah Book Club books. So clearly I got my Kindle for Christmas, like the first Kindle for Christmas, and then was like, Oprah knows books. One of them is called Blame by Michelle Honeven, I think. Okay. That one I've actually added to my list again, so it might be coming. Another one is Little Bee by Chris Cleave, and the third one is Say You're One of Them by Akpan. And I know that one for sure is an Oprah Book Club book. But yeah, so those are the 3 that I bought in December of 2009 and did not read.
Yeah, I don't think my list goes back that far. So good on you.
I did like a lot of digging to find all of this, and I was like, what is wrong with me? I did go through the whole list and like of everything, whether I spent money on it or not, and there's at least a handful of them that I probably like I won't even think twice about them again. Like, I'm not reading this book. This was a very much like a 2010 me book. And so, but some of them I did re-add to my list, so there may be some coming this year where I'm like, I bought this book in whatever year.
Yeah. So before I had a Kindle, I had a Nook.
Okay.
Which is the Barnes and Noble version of the e-reader. I wonder if I could, I know I have it somewhere because I saw it when I was unpacking. I'm going to find that and see if I can find any unread books on there and see if I can, because those have to be from about the same time period. So. Yeah,
because I think the first Nook came out probably within a year of the first Kindle. And I think the first Kindle was 2008 or 9.
Yeah.
So yeah, yours has to be around that time too.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Do they even make Nooks anymore?
I do not know that. I'm not sure.
I don't know either, but I know that this one is not supported anymore, so whatever's on there, it's just on there. So maybe I'll have to find my Nook and see about making the switch over. If I have to buy the book, I'll buy it from so I can support like the Barnes and Noble empire.
Yeah.
But do all my free stuff on Amazon.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. That's everything I had. I
Cool.
I know that I had more Onyx Storm theories that I wanted to talk about, but I never wrote them down, and now it's been 2 weeks, and I don't
Yeah.
like I don't know. So maybe not next episode, but the episode after that, you might get more Onyx Storm theories from me.
Nice.
Okay. You go first.
Well, first, how many books do you have?
Just one.
Okay, well then I have 3.
Okay.
Okay, so my first book is, I was, earlier I said, oh, I haven't read any Valentine's Day books or anything like that. So I was like, well, I have to at least get a Valentine's book in February, as a podcast February. So I downloaded a Valentine's Day book.
Okay.
And
oh yes, this is the last episode coming out in February. So great timing.
Yes. So before I go into that though, one of the characters makes a comment, and I wrote it down because I was like, I have never heard of this. I'd asked Mike, I was like, have you ever heard anybody say this? And he was like, no. So anyway, she like happens out onto like the porch, and like one of the guys is smoking like cigarettes or whatever, and she says, and there he was smoking like a tree.
Okay. Smoking like a tree?
I know. I was like, I read it, and then I read it again, and I was like, is this like a youth saying that I don't know about?
Oh my god, the youth.
So,
smoking like a chimney.
See, that's what I've heard, smoking like a chimney. But I've never heard smoking like a tree. So I'm putting it out into, if there are any youths who listen to this podcast.
It's either much older than us or much younger than us. Like there's got to be some saying on either side.
Right. So I even Googled it just to see if there was like, I don't know, something on the internet, like down in the depths of the internet. And I didn't see anything. So I have to know.
All right.
I just never heard it before.
No.
Anyway.
Okay.
So the book that I heard this in is called My Funny Demon Valentine.
Okay.
By Aurora Ascher. It's a Kindle Unlimited, and it is a fantasy. It is #1 in the Hellbent series, and there's 5 books total.
Okay.
I don't know if they're all out.
Okay.
I know at least 2 of them are out.
All right.
But I can tell you that I will not be reading any of the others.
All right. Great.
So, first, just to say, like I was saying, I picked this book because I was like, I need a Valentine's Day book. This book is not about the Valentine's season.
So it lied to you.
It lied to me.
Okay.
So My Funny Valentine is a jazz song.
Okay.
And that jazz song is in the book.
Oh.
And so they just added demon to it, and I got fooled.
Dang it. All right. Well, at least it's in the title.
Right. So this book is about 4 demons that have just escaped hell, and they're just trying to do their best to blend in on Earth. Now, this book focuses on, I'm going to mess this up, Asmodeus.
Okay.
The demon. He is the prince of hell, and he is also a lust demon.
All right.
So this is his experience. Anyway, I'm sure you can kind of figure out how this book's gonna go, but it's okay. So we'll call him Ash for short because that's his nickname in the book.
Okay.
But Ash has been cursed, and part of the
demon
curse
has been cursed.
Has been cursed.
Okay.
By an angel.
Great. All right.
Thousands of years ago. And so nobody can see him. Nobody can, like, they will notice that he's there, but they don't notice anything besides his presence, right?
Okay.
So this is particularly difficult for a lust demon.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's a girl, her name is Evangeline, and she is the first woman in 3,000 years to notice him.
How old is she?
In her, like, She's in her late 20s or early 30s.
Okay. So you're really happy about this.
Yes. Yes, I was super stoked about this part.
Okay.
So of course, because she's the first person who notices his hotness, he wants her.
Of course.
And, she is down to fuck. So
great.
Anyway, but it's not all fun and games. Hell has recognized that him and his demon brothers are not there, and they are out to look for him, and now Eva is a target as well. So because of this, they also exposes a secret about Eva that has long been hidden from her and could actually cause more problems than it could help.
Okay.
So my thoughts. And we've already touched on this. So much age gap.
Yes.
My least favorite thing, my least favorite genre is all the age gap. This book is wildly convenient in its magic. It's one of those that's like, all these things, very specific things have to happen in order for this to be a big deal. And then like 2 pages later, they're like, oops, all those things did happen. And you're like,
of course.
Oh, of course. So the first half of this book is smut.
Okay.
And then the second half is there's like not any more like sex scenes in the second half.
Okay.
But at the very end, there is one monster or a demon sex scene. So, yeah.
Okay.
so yeah, the last third of the book, it just moves really fast. So there's kind of a storyline, and I don't know, it's just a weird tempo because it's like all these things happening, and then we got to finish up the book really quick.
Okay.
So this is not a normal genre for me, so I don't have anything to compare it to. I liked some of the secondary characters, but all the demon brothers just kind of reminded me of like stereotypical frat boys.
Okay.
And
when you say not your typical genre, are you talking like the whole demon angel situation?
Like the demon smut.
Gotcha.
So
like monster smut, basically.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have anything to compare it to. So when I say that I gave this book like 2-ish tacos,
yes.
It's not because of the demon smut. It's just because like the book was just
Okay.
So
all right,
who knows, the demon smut could have been awesome. Who knows
when you compare it to other demon smut.
When you compare it to the other demon smut.
Never have I heard the words demon smut so many times. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So second book is called Tailspin by John Armbruster.
Okay.
And this was an Audible Plus. I listened to it, and it is a history. So this book is actually 2 stories that are told in this book. The first one is about Gene Moran. He is the World War II tail gunner, and he was famous because while he was in the aircraft and they were out on a mission, the plane broke apart and he fell to the earth in the tail section. So like 4 miles, no parachute, trapped in the tail section of this aircraft.
Okay.
And he lived.
Okay.
Now he had major issues. Like I think he broke both arms.
Yeah.
He like broke some ribs. He had like his brain was like spilling out of his head. So a lot was going on in his story, and it tells the story of leading up to that moment, and then he was found by by the Germans, and they put him in a POW camp. So he was in a POW camp for like 18 months.
Okay.
But then like towards the end of the war, they forced him to go on like a 600-mile death march across Central Europe. Okay. So it's like his whole story there. The second part of this book is of Jarms. So is John Armbruster.
Okay.
So he's the author, and
Uh-huh.
he's also a teacher who knows Gene. So
Okay.
when Gene finally decides that he's like ready to tell his story, he decides that he wants John to write it. And as he's interviewing Gene, John's wife is in the process of losing her fight with brain cancer.
Okay.
So this has some, you know, effects on John and his family and,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So in this book, there are some triggers. It's World War II,
It's
so
literally every trigger, I feel like.
like wild amounts of violence.
Yeah.
Like gun violence, domestic violence, inhumane treatment, obviously cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot to pack into this book.
Yeah.
So my thoughts were Jean's story was amazing
Yeah.
and interesting and wild and deserves to be a book and to be told. I don't judge him for choosing who told his story. I understand that it's a difficult topic for him to relive.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really a fan of the author's story. I know
Okay.
this is I don't know how that makes, but what happened to his wife was terrible. What happened
Yeah.
to his family was terrible, but I just think it could have been integrated into the book different.
Okay.
It didn't have to be the back and forth. I didn't really think there was enough like parallels, and also like like when his wife was going through it, they stopped talking, him and
Yeah.
Jean stopped talking and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm not like a huge fan of how his story was interwoven with Jean's story, I but whatever. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't a bad book. I only because I didn't really like John's part in the book, I gave the whole book a 3. But if
Okay.
it would have just been Jean's story, I would have totally given it a 5.
Okay.
So
Wow. All right.
yeah. So okay, this book. So this book is called Moon Over Soho by
Okay.
Ben Aaronovich. It is.
I know that name.
Yes.
You've said that name before.
Yes, I have. So this is book 2 in the Rivers of London series.
Yes.
It was an Audible Plus,
Yeah.
and it is a police procedural paranormal fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
So, in doing research about the whole, because I'm reading or listening to them all,
Yeah.
I guess he also wrote some of the episodes of Doctor Who.
Oh, nice.
And like some books,
Okay.
Doctor Who books and stuff like that. So
That's really cool.
Yeah. Okay, so just quick recap on what happened in the book. Peter is a police constable with London Metropolitan. He is the newest member of the part of the force that deals with the uncanny.
Mm-hmm.
He is also an apprentice wizard.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, because it's police procedural, it's kind of like a couple different stories. In this one, Peter is investigating the murder of a man who had his dick cut off.
Great.
And
all right.
So
why did he deserve it?
Right. So and kind of the other thing is, why is the part of the force that deals with like supernatural, why is this a job for them?
Yeah.
And it turns out that it is a job for them because the lady in question, so the suspect who did it, might have accomplished this by biting the offending part off with the teeth in her vagina.
Okay. Definitely uncanny.
Yes. So watch out.
Oh, Lord.
Yes. And so there's that. He's dealing with that. There's also another case that he's working. There has been another death, and it's the death of a jazz musician by whom the members of the Folly, that's the group that he works in, Their office is called the Folly, so they're calling them jazz vampires, which
Okay.
I really appreciated.
All right.
So they're like sucking the magic out of jazz musicians in order to stay alive forever.
Specifically jazz musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So they're calling them jazz vampires.
Great.
And because that's not enough, there is also a faceless man. He is an evil wizard.
Okay.
And he makes a debut in this book, and he also is making bigger problems because he is more powerful than anything that they've seen in a while.
Okay.
Okay.
They really packed it all in.
Yes, there's a lot going on in this book. So my thoughts were I didn't like this one as much as Rivers of London, but only by a little.
Okay.
The reason I didn't like it as much is because I wish there was more Chief Inspector Nightingale.
Oh, are you sure it's not because of the vagina teeth?
I thought that was hilarious.
Okay.
I wish that part was more prominent.
Give me more vagina teeth.
Right. Like that's what I want to hear about.
Let's find out how we got here.
Are there more?
Yeah. Right.
So, yeah, but like the jazz vampire part was easy to figure out.
Okay.
I was actually pretty disappointed in Peter because I was like, the very first time they met, I was like, she's it. She did it.
You got it.
and then it took Peter Grant like the rest of the book to figure it out. And I was just like, sir,
come on, Peter.
You are a police officer. I know I said I wish there was more of the tooth vagina creature. I wish there was more of her storyline.
Yeah.
I don't really think that it was like fleshed out very well. It was just like there are people who are biting dicks off, and then now we're in a chase.
Yeah.
And so that was it. I didn't get to hear what kind of creature she was, why she was doing it,
right?
Like anything like that. It was just it felt kind of like a filler.
Okay. Do we know if it was intentional?
Intentional? Yes.
Yeah, that she, okay.
All right. Yeah, she was doing it intentionally. Like she was very specific about who she was picking and what. So like, but it didn't even really give like no motive or anything like that. So I kind of just felt like these two storylines were there to introduce the faceless man.
Okay.
So we had to wrap them up, right? So that way you could get to the faceless man.
The new like villain or whatever. Okay.
Right. And so there's a pretty good cliffhanger at the end of it. I should say I am really interested to see how it plays out. I wrote that down, but I already know how it plays out because I've continued to listen.
Okay.
But there are triggers. So there's murder, obviously. Very graphic scenes. If you are squeamish about penises.
Okay, great.
And blood, maybe just, and then there's also mentions of suicide.
Okay.
So, and I gave that book four avocado tacos.
Nice. Was the other one? Did you do 4 or 4.5 on that one? Do you remember?
I think I want to say I did. I think I gave it a 4.
Okay.
But I think it was rounded down to a 4.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, before I get into my book, I want to tell you I do have I do have some other books that I could talk about, but we're gonna save them. Just that's what we're gonna do. I did not read at all while I was on my trip. I had a 10-hour flight there and a 10-hour flight back, and I was like, I could finish a whole book. Well, on the flight to Germany, I slept for 5 hours. So there was that. And on the way home, I had to finish Breaking Dawn. So I did finally finish Breaking Dawn.
Yay!
So
I forgot about that.
yeah,
Oh my
I
gosh.
still hadn't finished, and I was like, I got it. I'll do it that week. And I was like, shit, on the flight home. So I spent some time doing that, and then I slept. And yeah, so I didn't read it all. But I do have some books that I obviously finished before, so that I have some that I could talk about today. I did finish some books from the week before the trip, so I have those that we could talk about. But I do want to say I need to make a shift in my reading because all four of the books that I have to talk about are all thrillers. I have not read, like, the only fantasies that I've read have been Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and Onyx Storm this year so far. And then we have Rebel Witch tomorrow. So I will for sure be reading at least one more. But I'm gonna make a shift. I gotta do something because it's only been that, and I'm missing my fantasies. So keep just know that it's coming, okay? Okay.
Right.
Okay, so this one I read at the beginning of February. It was on Audible. I used a credit for it. It was a sister book club, and I had been putting this one off. I was actually going to hold it. I completely actually forgot about this one. Because I didn't love it. And so I kind of forgot about it. And then I was like, oh shit, maybe I should talk about this so that I can like check it off. So it's called The Best of Friends by Lucinda Berry. It's massive on Big Book Talk. We should have known. Like, so all right. So The Best of Friends. It follows three best friends, Lindsay, Kendra, and Danny. And their teenage boys are also best friends. And they are like 16, 17. Okay. And one night, a tragedy occurs. The three boys were hanging out, and by the end of the night, one of them is dead, one of them is in a coma, and the third is too traumatized to speak.
Jeez.
So yeah, crazy time. So in an alternating point of view, you find out how each mother is dealing with like what their particular tragedy is. So every chapter, for the most part, it kind of goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Sometimes it'll like switch back and forth between which mom is talking, but every chapter is a different mom point of view. And you're kind of like following along as they learn all the secrets that the boys had, like leading up to this tragedy, and all the things that happened that night, like before what happened. Along the way, you also like, you not only learn all the boys' secrets, but over the course of the chapters, you learn all the secrets that the moms had, like in their own lives, like with their relationships and like all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of shit going on in each of the marriages, so like you kind of get all of that kind of come out as they're dealing with all the stuff. And each of them kind of have their own drama, along with their like grief and confusion and like all that kind of stuff over what happened that night. So my thoughts on it are it wasn't that great. Okay. Sorry. It was just kind of nothing. Like my sister called it a nothing burger. It kind of there was no character development really. All of the moms kind of felt like the same person, which like you can kind of understand. Obviously, if these three people are best friends, they probably have some similarities, right? But it was difficult as the chapters like switched from mom to mom. It took me a minute in each chapter to be like, who are we talking about again? And it wasn't until they talked about what their kid was going through that I was like, oh, this is that mom. Like, this is the coma mom. This is the won't talk mom, or, you know, whatever.
Right.
So it kind of all just, aside from their individual dramas that they had in their marriage, everything kind of felt just similar.
Like the author only knew how to write one type of
Woman.
older
Yes.
woman.
Yes.
Okay.
There were like plenty of things that happened that like were brought up and never talked about again. So it happened at least a handful of times, but I'll say one. This one isn't really a spoiler unless you don't want to know that you don't get an answer for it.
Mm-hmm.
But one example is like the moms like offhandedly say something about something that happened to them in their junior year. It's like at their junior prom or in their junior year, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, it's the night we don't talk about, like we didn't even talk about it when it happened that night.
Okay.
We literally never find out what happened that night. So they reference it at least twice. And they're like, oh, we can't, whatever, like we can't talk about it. Like we promised we would never talk about it. And then they literally never talk about it. So like
they keep that promise.
They keep the promise. But like we don't know why did you bring it up? How does it relate to what's going on? Like how does it relate to the kids? Like what, why, how? Like why did you bring that up? Who cares about what happened your junior year if we don't know even how it relates to what's happening now? Yeah. So that's like one example, but it happens at least a couple other times with a couple other things where we just kind of hear about it and then that's it. It's done. So there's that. There's a couple of twists that happen in the book. So there's a couple throughout the book, and then there's one at the very end, like in the epilogue or whatever. There was one that was like, okay, so what? Like they talk about some things that happen like going on with the boys. It's like, okay, that's not a twist, that's just like a thing, who cares. Mm-hmm. There's another one that I guessed like super easily and very early, and I was like, this is a dumb fucking twist, like why are you this is stupid, I'm done with this. And even if I think that even if I hadn't had guessed it when the big reveal happened, I still think I would have been like, okay, who cares? Like it wasn't a big enough twist for me to be like, oh my God, I'm so shocked. So, which sucks. Also, even when we find out who the killer was or like who caused everything that happened that night, it was just kind of like, okay, sure, that happened. Which is unfortunate because you feel like the whole thing was leading up to that. Like it was all a secret. It was all hidden. It was like you couldn't figure out like what happened. And then you find out what happened and you're like, yeah, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, great.
Built me up for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could have had like an alien invasion or something. Like, come on.
At least I would have been like surprised.
Yes, exactly. So, I ended up going with 2.5 for this one. So 2.5 Treadleniks. And the only reason I went with a 2.5 instead of a 2, because that was my original rating, was because it kept me intrigued, because I kept waiting for something big to happen. And so I was like, that half a point was literally just for like the intrigue that it gave me of like, what's coming, what's going to happen, like, what are you going to reveal to me? But the reason it can't be any higher than that is because when we finally did get the reveals, it was like, that was dumb. So my sister gave it a 2 because she was like, she originally came in 2. After we had our conversation, she kind of was like, all right, I agree with you, I think I could go with 2.5. But ultimately she was like, nothing burger, didn't care. Nice. It was dumb. So book talk strikes again. Which it's so sad.
I know.
I don't understand, like, what is everybody talking about? Like this, it was just all right.
I know. I was going to bring this up in the next episode because I had but yeah, it's like how how are some of these books that are rated so well? And then I
Yeah.
read it and I'm like,
Why? Did we read the same thing?
yeah, like all right.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, at some point, at some cases, I'm like, oh yeah, I could see how like this would reach different people differently.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, but like also, I'm just like, man,
Yeah.
some of you just have bad taste.
Right, exactly. I mean, I guess I could see how this one could reach somebody differently, but it just was like overall a little boring, like meh. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so that's that. That's my book. um uh Next week and probably the week after are still going to be thrillers. So I'm apologize now. Uh and I'll jump in with some fantasies soon though.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be doing a dual Rebel Witch
Yes,
soon.
we will be doing a dual Rebel Witch soon. So
Yes. So at
I'm
least
super
there's that.
excited for that.
Yes. All right. Well, are you ready for our question?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you read or listen to books while you're working out?
Mm. Well, first, I don't think we ever, but did you ever do any research on that whole like Kindle on the Peloton thing? Like, how's that going for them?
I haven't. I need
I
to.
know.
I
Yeah.
mean, the only thing I have is that Tim didn't like it. So
Mm-hmm.
there's that. And I haven't seen it very much on the socials. I think since
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about it, I've probably seen 2 posts about it of people doing it. So clearly it's not
Yeah.
as big as it was supposed to be.
Yeah. I will say though, it wasn't a Peloton.
Hmm.
I was at the gym
Hmm.
a couple like last week or something, and there was a girl reading a book
Like a
on the
physical
treadmill.
book?
No, she's reading like a
Oh,
Kindle.
okay.
And because I'm nosy,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what is she reading?
Hmm.
The font was so big, and there was 13. I was close enough to see the name of the book. This is how big the font was. She had 13 lines up.
Oh
So
my
that's
goodness.
she had the font so huge that's all she could, there was only 13 lines of text on the whole page. That's how big she had to have it so she could like walk on the treadmill.
Yeah.
um so, and it's not like she was like, like an older woman who was wearing
Yeah.
like but like readers at the
Yeah.
same time. She was younger than I was.
Oh
So
my goodness.
like I can't see actually reading on
Mm-mm.
any kind of like
No.
I don't know. I would just be like,
Yeah, constantly just going to the next
yeah,
page.
constantly
You'd
swiping.
have to have the clicker.
Yeah. Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
Hmm.
because yeah, it was just like 13 lines is nothing.
No.
But yeah, but I don't. I know. So I'll listen to books when I'm running,
Okay.
but I don't listen to books when I'm working out. Anything like that. But it
Yeah.
also depends on the book.
Yeah.
Like I can't, listen to, I don't want to say like a dry history, but I don't want to listen to a dry history while I'm running. I want
Yeah.
something that's going to like keep me from realizing that I'm running.
Right.
So,
Right.
but
I feel like, yeah, when I'm like, I don't run, so I don't have that. But if I'm ever doing like a walk or something, I could listen. But I feel like a book is not enough for me to um like get my mind off of doing cardio.
yeah.
So usually if I'm doing a walk like on the treadmill or something, I'll typically have like my phone or iPad or something and watch a show. Because I feel like I can't focus. I definitely don't when I'm lifting and stuff. I definitely don't do books. I can't even do like podcasts or anything like because it
Really.
just yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I get so lost. Like I start counting because I'm like doing reps or like
Oh
trying to
yeah, that makes
count out like
sense. Yeah,
weight
yeah.
that I'm adding and like doing math and stuff. And I'm just like immediately I'm like, what happened in the last 30 seconds of this book or whatever. So yeah, I really can't. There's been only probably like 2 or 3 times where I've been so into a book that I couldn't stop, but I had to go work out. So like I've done it probably, yeah, like I said, like 2 or 3 times, but as a general rule, I definitely do not. I can't focus.
Yeah, samesies.
Yeah. I want to say there was one time I was reading, like on my Kindle, was reading a book, and I was so into it. I wish I could remember what it was, but I was so into it that in between each set, I would like sit and read like 2 pages, and then I would do my next set of reps, and then I would sit and read like 2 pages. So
nice.
I've only done that probably once.
Interesting.
Yeah. But
do you want to know what the book was that girl was reading?
Yeah, of course I do. I was going to ask you when we were done.
Do you want to know?
Oh, it was ACOTAR. Of course it was. Of course it was.
It wasn't ACOTAR, but it was like one of the ACOTAR books. Yeah.
So. Because I know on the Kindle, like the name is there or whatever, was one of
Search
the 13
was
one of the 13 lines, the book title, just every page.
Yeah. It was that's what caught my attention, because I looked over it and I was like, that is huge font. Like I can read it from here. If I stopped walking, I could read it. But I was counting. She probably was like weirded out because I was counting how many lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So
you should have asked her, are you enjoying it? Well, I mean, obviously, if she's
working up to it,
right? Yeah, she couldn't put it down, I'm sure. How unfortunate. I'm just kidding, all you ACOTAR lovers.
Yes, we love ACOTAR.
I totally get it.
Totes.
It's okay. There's a bunch of people out there that hate other series that I love, so to each their own.
That's true.
All right. Well, we did it. We made it back. Our first one back. And
we did it. We did it. We did it. Hooray.
So go follow us on all the things. Savor the Story Pod everywhere. Savor the pod. Savor the story.
Our pod.
No, don't look for that. Savor the Story Pod everywhere you want to look for us at. That is what we are. And give us 5 stars. Give us comments. Give us all the things. We did just get a YouTube comment that we're going to add to our discussion questions. So
sweet. That
will be coming soon. And give us comments and 5 stars and love us. Okay, the end.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Get out of here. And they recognize that he's there, but they don't.
I gotta kick him out. He is so hyper right now. Sorry.
Right.
Boy, what are you doing? Oh, you're a bad boy. Oh, you're such a bad boy. Okay. Get you a toy. Come on, let's get you a toy. Oh my goodness.